Welcome to the SRS VHA Data Portal, a geospatial knowledge graph that makes complex analysis easy. We begin by visualizing veteran population data on a national scale. Returning to Texas and San Antonio's Bexar County, which has a population of over 160,000 veterans. Then we look at the projected aging of the veteran population through the year 2048. Looking again at San Antonio, we find the projected age of its population to be well in the top 10% of the country. By contrast, El Paso County in Colorado, while also populous, is trending younger. The SRS risk score is comprised of hundreds of factors grouped into 4 component scores: community vulnerability, which touches on demographic issues such as wealth or poverty, race, age, ethnicity, special needs, and more. Community resilience groups issues such as proximity to treatment, wellness, infrastructure, housing, and governance. The SRS Climate Impact Score looks at asset loss exposure, historic loss ratios, hazard frequency, and 18 other factors such as flood and wildfire. While the SRS Environmental Risk Score examines air and water quality, components of pollution, exposure to carcinogens, as well as proximity to toxic sites. These 4 scores are then unified into a single SRS risk score, which is then represented this way, with the core score in the center, surrounded by the 4 component scores categorized by color. Let's step back to the national level and examine the VA markets, here represented along with their risk scores. Again, let's look further into Market 17E and San Antonio specifically, which is served by 4 major VA health facilities: Audie Murphy, Brooke Army Medical, and 2 rehabilitation centers. Though 17E has an overall SRS score of 4, Bexar County is at the top of the SRS scale, a 10. While its social vulnerability score is moderate at 4, and its resilience score is somewhat elevated at 6, its climate impact score is on the high end at 4 on a 5-point scale, while its environmental risk score is at a maximum of 5. Let's look inside the environmental risk score. Diesel particulate ranks in the 93rd percentile in the country. Air toxins that pose a cancer risk are at 73%. The respiratory hazard index is 67%. Traffic density and proximity are at an astonishing 96th percentile. Meanwhile, major discharges into water come in at the 88th percentile. Proximity to the national priorities list is at 91%. To EPA risk management and plan projects at 82%. Proximity to toxic storage and disposal facilities at 84%. Ozone exposure is at 45%. And Bexar's PM 2.5 ranks in the 93rd percentile in the country. Bexar also ranks in the top 10% in the country for riverine flooding. Here are the SRS risk scores for Bexar at the zip level. You can see the nested highways and waterways in question. And here are our scores at the tract. Let's stop and ask one more question. Telemedicine. We look first at broadband nationwide by county, then returning to Texas, 17E, and Bexar, we find several counties within the market with broadband unavailability approaching 50%, making them difficult to serve from San Antonio. So going back to our original investigation, we found that the veteran population of bear is large, is expected to be older, and is under significant duress from air and water pollution. These observations may assist VA in planning the allocation of resources as it looks toward the future. Spatial risk systems and the VA, geospatial analytics from the ground up.